Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Voice is Magic show. I am thrilled to be co hosting this show with my beautiful partner.
Rachel Wayte.
Awesome. And we are thrilled because we want to inspire you to unleash your voice, connect to your magic, and serve the world in a way that only you can. And today we are so happy to bring on a rock star of a man, the one and only Michael Brooke, who is, I pray, is going to inspire you because he is just like, oh my God, like the things this guy has done in his lifetime. I hope we can touch on a lot of them. And he wants to get to his next level. So he's already a rock star, but he wants to get to his next level. And I am thrilled that we had a chance to meet quite a few months ago. I think it was in the summer, right, Michael? When I spoke at an event, I was the keynote speaker, and Michael caught me on stage. Then afterwards came and chatted with me, and he just impressed the heck out of me, telling me all the things that he's done. And I was blessed to receive a copy of his amazing book. Michael, could you hold it up? Your amazing book.
There we go.
It is called The Endless Wave: Skateboarding, Death, and Spirituality. Now, he gave it to me online. So I basically plugged it into a little app and I listened to it while I was driving. So I got to listen to this book. And now he's actually published it based on the information that I shared about how incredible the stories in this book are, and how the world needs this book. And there's more men that need to have access to these teachings, especially because there's a lot of men that are staying really small and they don't talk about some of the things that are in this book, and especially death, right? And Michael is an avid, I'll call you what you've called yourself. You call yourself a skate geezer. He's an older gentleman who loves skateboarding, and I believe that he is meant to connect with a lot more men to help them to let go of the fear of death, to be more spiritual, to be living more in a realm of spirituality where we're all connected. None of us is in this meat suit for no reason. We're all souls in these meat suits for a bigger purpose. And the more we stay connected to our spiritual self, our, as I like to call, aligned, authentic, fully self-expressed self, well, then we get to share our magic with the world. So that is what I'm all about, not dying with your real music still in you. Rachel and I are really, really big on this because we're living our purpose. We want to see everybody living their purpose. So today we're gonna speak with Michael, and we're gonna find out more about what's preventing him from getting to the next level of really serving in the biggest way on the planet. So can we get started on that conversation?
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited about this, Michael. Sorry, I'm just
Me too. Oh no, don't say sorry. This is excellent. So Michael, tell us what inspired you to want to come on to Your Voice's Magic and be served by Rachel and myself through and Spirit through Rachel and myself. What inspired you today?
I think there's two major reasons. Number one, Elvira, it was your voice. It was your passion, and it was your story, and it was your whole being at that conference that cut through. I think a lot of people didn't know how to relate to you, or didn't, and I think for a lot of people it's almost like, whoa, who is this lady? And you immediately drew me in. But I have to confess, I've always had an open mind about a lot of different things. I like the unknown. I like to explore a lot of different things. But in this particular situation, I really have to say, I cannot stress this enough. I wrote this book a couple of years ago. I had it sort of laid out in Microsoft Word, and I didn't do very much with it. And when I think about sending you that PDF and then you telling me you listened to it and then you phoned me and said, listen, there's something to this, that one sentence changed the whole trajectory. And I think what has happened is that it's not just that I opened up my mind a little bit more through you. It's this idea that maybe everything I did at that funeral home, when I spent 5 years after selling my business, I spent 5 years in a funeral home, and I felt that I didn't really have any more messages to give to the world. You reflect on the idea of not dying with the music still inside you, right? This idea of people have a passion, they have a purpose and meaning. I literally thought that that had pretty much evaporated. I mean, I didn't think I would ever write again. And after that, I didn't think I'd have a message to really bring to the world, because I've done this before. I did it in skateboarding many years ago. But I really felt up until I met you that this was something that was going to basically die with me. It's something I'd done. It had been a nice cathartic exercise. But ultimately, what you inspired me to do and why I'm taking this next phase and this next step is that I truly feel that that conversation that I had with you has now led me to say, okay, this book is something that can be that bridge builder. It can bring people to a state in which they turn from, I'm not going to talk about this, I'm just going to be a closed minded person, to, oh my God, this guy actually gave me some information about death and dying, and it's made me think. That's all I want people to do. I want it to be a conversation starter. And I credit you, Rachel. And I think what I'm realizing is that your show here and the passion that you and Rachel have for this work, I'm an open vessel, and I'm coming in with a very open mind, saying whatever happens in the next little while, I know it's almost like a course correction, because I know whatever I'm doing, there is more to it. I can see 20 years from now, I'll be 80, but I know that I've done something valuable. I feel it. I feel I have one more thing to do, if that makes sense.
I feel that too. Just listening to you speak, Michael, I just feel so like, oh, he's so passionate, and I can feel almost like your soul speaking through you. It's like this has to come out. Like there's no this is happening whether you want it to happen or not. There's like, I think Elvira and I are here to really make sure that this truly happens. This next phase. I wonder, is there, so I love how you've shared so passionately about that. Is there anything coming up for you at the moment that you feel like just might be hindering you in any way, or that you struggle with, or that stops you perhaps from getting this out as quickly as you want to? Or is there anything that comes to mind when I ask that question?
Well, the interesting thing is that part of what I do is I create people's memoirs, and it's a business called Time for My Story. And I started this business while I was at the funeral home, and I didn't really dedicate a lot of time because I was, most of the time at the funeral home. But it started with one person who said, "Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea," and I was able to create a memoir. And oddly enough, the person that I did this memoir for, he had a whole bunch of tributes at the back, and everything was put together through him until pretty much his last dying day. It literally came off the press the day he died. And I delivered to the family, and the funeral was the next day. And he had micromanaged it, even though he was quite nonverbal. He knew exactly what he wanted in this piece. And he was a party planner from Montreal, of all places. And he'd had this amazing life, and he died knowing that his memoirs were turned into a magazine. And so I feel the business concept is there. A lot of people have a lot of photos. Some people have, words, but putting them together and creating what is essentially a magazine about someone's life, or a book about someone's life, that's not, $40,000. Like, we don't charge outrageous numbers to make this, but there seems to be something stuck. People love the idea, but it hasn't really evolved. I do free workshops in which people fill out this little booklet of little questions they ask. And this is in an effort to try and capture people who really have a burden in telling their story. Most people say, you know what, my life's really insignificant. I always counter, no, everybody has a story. Everybody, I sound like Elvira. I said, you've got to at least document something. I've gone so far as just to make a little postcard, right? And I show this to people. This man on the moon, there's the Beatles, there's the Blue Jays. And all it says in the back is, I remember. I don't even have one of these for my own father. I can sit right now and tell you that I don't know anything in terms of my father's. I could not answer this question. What were some of the most significant obstacles, and how did you overcome them? One of the 4 questions in this booklet, I have no idea how my father would answer that. So I think part of the reason why I feel stuck is that I know that my course with this, my vision with it, is correct, but something is not gelling in terms of the amount of people that should be coming relative to how powerful this is. And I guess on the other side, the endless wave, that's going to grow organically. I have a feeling that a number of people may reach out as a result of you putting this through your network. It's a free book. I'm not interested in making money. Both Nathan and I realized that the only way to pay for it was to pay it forward. So quite honestly, I came today with this, as I said, an open mind, saying that's where I'm stuck. I
Mm.
just want to make sure that I'm on the right course. And maybe time for my story is, too far ahead of the game. I don't know. Sometimes I've had that happen too. Visionaries sometimes, I say trip with the shoelaces tied, because that's how visionaries work.
Wow. Yeah.
Where to begin with this, Elvira? I'll let you speak.
Yeah, no, what I'm getting, Michael, as you share all this, like to me, it's clear that this is something that needs to get out into a bigger way. I'm seeing podcasts. I'm seeing you applying to be on more and more podcasts, just to let people know, to let people hear your voice, and your vision, and allowing them just to see what's available to them. Because this idea of capturing my mother's story before she goes, like, it intimidates me a little bit, because I think about sitting down with her and, how do I do that with her? She's always been, a bit guarded, and there's always been, like whitewashing all the things. And I know there's a lot of trauma in her background. And I'd love to be able to just sit with her and just say, Mom, this is something that needs to come from your soul, and we need to capture it. And we're going to put together a beautiful book that we get to have forever. Like, I think there's just a different way of capturing that concept, so that more people go, oh my God, yes, I need to sit down with my mom, with my dad, and do this with my grandmother, right? Like, there's more that needs to be done. Like, I feel like you've just sort of scratched the surface, but there's so much more of the value that it is going to have for the family when this book is left behind as a legacy item. I feel like there's deeper stuff to uncover there. That's what I'm getting right off the bat. Rachel, what are you getting, love?
So what I'm doing is, Michael, wonder what I'm doing. I'm actually feeling, so I'm connecting with your energy, Michael. And what I sense is that, like here, like physically, I feel there's a there's something stuck here, and what wants to come out. There's more. So within you, there's so much more passion for you to share around this. And if we help you to unleash that, it's going to mean that actually when you're communicating about this, because to me it sounds incredible. And I think when you're communicating, in fact, we just help, there's something to help, just it's making me want to cough. So there's something sitting here within you that we just need to help release. It's going to help you be sort of like so in your surety and sureness about this, about what you're speaking about, that people are just going to go, yes, I get it, I understand it, and I now know why I need to do this, why this needs to happen. Because people have it's like people have their stories that they want to share, but they've not met someone like you can help them. I think it will be very, very, what I'm also feeling is it for everyone who comes into contact with you, so it will be extremely healing for them, not only for the person who is sharing the story, but for the family who then have this as a memento, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be so healing for them in many ways, and it's going to help them. What I'm also feeling is it's going to really help in many ways to heal some family traumas, some things that maybe have happened, and it's going to help people understand that person who's perhaps passing away, or it's going to help them understand on such a deep level and have so much more compassion for them, that I don't even think you realize this, a lot is going to be healed through this work that you're doing and that you're going to do. How does that sit with you, Michael? I just want you to, because there's
so it's so interesting that you talk about this, because it is very cathartic. The difference, say, between somebody who's doing this work, and what I mean by like a memoir writer, generally somebody who just works with words, it's one thing. But because I work with images, and I have a designer who I worked with on the magazine, who now lays these books out, these magazines out, you're basically in both worlds. So The people that are overrun by like 100,000 photos on their iPhone and don't even know where to begin, I can help them. And those people that don't feel comfortable sitting and typing out their own story, I can help them. And what's really interesting, and I hope you appreciate this, is that not everybody can afford my services. Not everybody wants to spend a few $1,000s to create this, and I understand that. And that is why, at a bigger level, my vision and my goal, and why I'm so, I guess, in tune with where you're both at, and why, especially what you just said, is that even if you don't do any work with me, I want you to listen to this podcast or listen to my voice or whatever and say, listen, take the time to capture memories now. There's no time like the present to capture the past. And don't regret something that you will very much regret. Like my own father. My father died 10 years ago this September. How I wish I could have sat down and just spent 20 minutes with him, just writing stuff out. And I don't have that. And that's really the whole soul purpose, I think. And I meant that as a pun. I think my soul's purpose is to help people get in tune with this idea of capturing and preserving memories. And I think it ties in with the hospice work that I'm about to do. I think it ties in with the book I did. I think it ties in with Elvira. And somehow, strange reasoning behind this, it almost transcends the work that pays the bills, if that makes sense. I think that's the conflict. The vision is so much bigger than me doing 20 of these a year. Although I love doing them, but the bigger vision is to have people sit back and go, he's right. I need to sit down with my grandmother or my son or my daughter or whoever.
It's coming out, Michael. I feel it. I just want to share one thing, and I know Elvira wants to hop in and say something as well. But it's almost like I see you, Michael, like being able to support, like you on stage talking about this, talking to big groups of people about this, but also just imagine, like, yes, it is a lot for you to sit down one-to-one and do this with someone, and I can see why you charge what you do for that, but there's also a way of you being able to create something. So actually people then have a way of being able to do this themselves. There's somewhere that you create a model for them to go, actually, now I've heard Michael speak, now I hear you, and you speak so passionately about this, and there's going to be a way for you to be able to support lots of people to do this. And some people will be able to just, once they've heard you, it's going to click something within inside of them. They're going to go, right, I want to do that. And there's going to be some support documentation that they can go and actually create this themselves as well. I feel that there's that behind it. This is big, Michael. This is big, and we're just helping you almost like open yourself up to that and release anything within you that would make you think, oh, I should just stay small with this. Maybe I'll just do it for the one-to-ones, and maybe I'll just do it like, it's almost like, no, there's more, and we're just helping you to release into that.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it feels bigger. And I think that's where my visionary mind is going with this. 30 years ago, I was on the internet in 1994, and I realized that there was a skateboarding website because I went to a book that told me there was a skateboarding website. And that led to a book contract. It led to all kinds of things happening, feature films. And I'm not the architect of change within skateboarding, but I feel very strongly that perhaps I was doing all this work to build for what I'm about to do. And if this makes sense to you, it feels like both you and Elvira are super catalysts. In essence, the clarity that I'm getting now is, yes, I need to make money to pay the bills to make this happen. But on a much larger level, I want to be one of the architects that brings change within the way men view death and dying. But I also want to be one of these architects of change as it relates to how people relate to the past and their relatives. Because I think there's such a cathartic feeling of capturing stories and knowing somebody before they die. And I did this with my parents-in-law. And my wife turned to me and she said, I can't believe you found out about this. And these stories release emotions. And I don't know, but I feel almost like a Pied Piper of memories, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills as you speak. Go for it.
Oh,
I know you want to shake.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad it's resonating.
There's so much here. The Pied Piper of, what did you say? The Pied Piper of Memories?
Memories.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I love, and that is what you are, Michael. And I'm going to confirm everything that you've said and that Rachel has said, and that's coming through. Spirits making it come through in a big flood right now. And I really feel that, Michael, this is a movement. You are going to be representing a movement of what is possible. When we sit down with our elders and we capture stories, we can actually heal because we understand better. We go deeper to understand who they are, and we understand why we are this way as well. And we can let go. We can let go of old patterns, old stories. It's like, well, of course I'm this way because my dad just said this or my mom just said this. So it's a way of healing. And I feel that you're going to be representing it on a few levels. And the first one is really the visionary, the Pied Piper of this as a speaker that represents the movement, right? So people can do this on their own. Maybe you can create a template for them to do it on their own. Have at it, right? But then you can support people in a done with you model as well. And you can do a done for you model as well. So you can support on 3 different levels to help people get their stories down, have that healing take place, bring the families even closer together so people don't die with their real music still in them. So they don't die with their stories in them. So the family gets to know each other better so that there can be more peace. And Michael, I know you're all about world peace because you did skateboarding for peace, where you had kids from Palestine and kids from Israel skateboarding together, and that just made me cry when I saw that picture. So, anyways, that's what I have to share. Rachel, would you like to add to that?
No, just that I'm getting so many. We were clearly getting the same download.
Of course.
The same image for you, Michael, which is just fantastic. It's just reaffirming. I think it's just reaffirming that this is much bigger. You probably knew it, but this is just affirming to you how big this is meant to be, and to trust yourself with this and not to fear, gosh, can I do this? How am I going to do this? I just want you to know that kind of that is going to take care of itself. And you just go with this and enjoy the journey, because I think you've got many lives you won't even know the amount of lives that you're going to be touching with this. You won't even see all the lives that you're touching, but just know that the ripple of what you are doing and what you're bringing forward is actually going to be quite magnificent. And I want you to really feel that. And this is opening you up, because you were talking earlier, it was like you were speaking your truth, and it was almost like you were just speaking out what you had felt, but it was coming out, and this is helping almost like affirm everything for you so that you move forwards today going, yes, I'm sure of what I'm meant to be doing.
Aligned action. Aligned action.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Well, 2 thoughts. This thing keeps sort of spiraling and other ideas keep coming together. So, for example, here in the GTA, a service that I can do, this just came up in the last week or 2, was to be at a celebration of life event and go around and capture people's memories of a person that they're celebrating. Now, it takes a certain amount of emotional intelligence to be able to do that. And I once put together, it's funny, an old skateboarder called Wee Willie Winkles, but Wee Willie had a celebration of life that I put together. We brought in a Beatles cover band and a whole bunch of people were there. And how I wished I could have just had a microphone and caught all the stories that people had about Willie. And I'm putting that out there because basically the way it works, it's I call it memory scribe. And it's just another idea in this concept of capturing the memories. And these devices do a beautiful job of communication, but ultimately I wonder how effective they can be at connecting us. And where I'm kind of going with this is that I feel very strongly that the 750 plus funerals that I witnessed, so many stories were buried with people. And at the root, people say, start with why. I guess I feel that stories are the glue of the humanity that connects us. And when those stories become unglued, or the stories get lost, or they get buried, I think it takes something from our souls we're in the present moment. I can't speak for where those stories go, because if the soul still has them, I assume they're still around somewhere. Maybe you'll revisit them. But ultimately, in the here and now, in the tangible, it's more than a photo. It's the story behind the photo. And I did this with a guy called Warren Bolster. who unfortunately committed suicide a number of years ago, but he was the publisher, and rather editor of a magazine called Skateboarder. And anybody who skateboarded in the 1970s know this magazine. But I have this book, and I have his inscription in the front. And through a set of circumstances, I learned a little bit more about how he killed himself. And he made such a huge impact on this world. And yet, if it hadn't been for this book, I don't know how else to say it, but it's like it his story and his work still resonate with me. And there's probably not a week that doesn't go by that I don't think about this man. And that's just one person. And I only met him, briefly. I worked with him for, about 6-7 months. But I guess where I'm kind of going with this is that I'm a reflection of what he impressed upon me. His vision brought me to my vision. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, that's the golden thread, right? So if I'm able to weave people's stories and help families and help with healing, well, that's just gravy on top of the cherry. I mean, that's just how I feel. It's like that's the warmth of a memory. That's what I saw at funerals, was the bittersweetness of it all. Mm-hmm. That people miss that person, miss the memory of that person, but remembered so many great things about that person. And now I'm saying is capture it, because your great grandchildren will want to know. Yeah. They'll want to know.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a lot beautiful. It's so beautiful, Michael. As you were talking, then there's a lot of energy. I don't know how much you feel about energy. I haven't asked you about this, but there's actually a lot of energy going into your throat right now. As you were speaking, I'm sending a lot of healing into your voice, into here. So I don't know if there's something that's clearing around so that it's going to help you speak this message stronger, or with more purpose, or with more passion. But there's definitely something here going on that there might well have been a restriction in the past, or something. Sometimes you've held back in some way from fully expressing this, or there's something around that's going on at the moment. There's a lot of energy here in my hand, and there's a lot happening here. I feel it anyway, in your throat. So it may well be opening up and preparing you for more words to come out, for you to speak more and be heard more, and to not fear what you fear. Because actually, if you're going to be on stages, you're going to be in front of thousands and thousands of people, your voice needs to be in alignment with that. And I feel that is what is going on right now. You might not know. You probably remember at some point going, "Oh yeah, I remember that call with Rachel and Elvira." And
I won't forget this call.
No, no. And because you're going to be. It's almost like you're going to be speaking after this with so much more certainty about everything, about what you're doing.
I love that.
It feels like that. Yeah, I feel very much that it's. I guess I would describe it like this. I know where I want to be, and I know what is required to take myself there, because I've done it before. And like I said, I think all of it was a buildup to bring it to this piece, which is, skateboarding is great. Don't get me wrong. But I think all of it was a precursor. It was almost like the pre-work to the buildup of what I think is my real mission in life.
Yeah.
And, I go back to Elvira, this whole idea of music inside of you. I guess I got 5 years on Colonel Sanders. He started 65 with the special sauces and special ingredients. But I feel very strongly that I'm 60 in a few months, and I don't feel sick. I don't feel 60, but I feel like this is the last dance. This is the last piece of the puzzle that connects all of the work I've done to the real serious stuff.
Yes.
But I think I'm that bridge, because to be able to stand up and tell people, well, look, skateboarding and death and spirituality, like, no one would have done anything like that. You have to have a weird mind. Yeah. But
oh my God. I love it. I love it.
That's the bridge that I feel that I am. Anyway.
You are for sure. You are for sure. We need to wrap up our show, but I just want to say thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. Rachel, you're a goddess as always, bringing us your beautiful healing magic. And I love watching you in action. It's so beautiful. Michael, I feel there's a lot more ahead, and we'll stay in communication and see, if we can support you in any way moving forward. But I feel like this is a catalyst today that you're going to see your life in a different way, and you're going to start taking, even more powerful, inspired action forward, because that's what's going to get you the miracles of serving with your bigger purpose. So I want to thank you both so much. An honor and joy to be in your space. And Rachel, I'd like you to close down with a little meditation, and then I'm going to do a little sound blessing, and we'll wrap up the show. So thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. And I want everyone who's here listening right now, what I feel like has been working with Michael, but anyone who's here listening right now, it's almost like we're just clearing their thoughts and their beliefs right now, because what I think Michael has also shown, and I want people to feel, is that it's never too late. Like, as Michael's saying, you know what, he's turning 60, and you know what, but there's so much. So I think a lot of people might just think, oh, what's even the point? Why even bother trying to get my passions out there, trying to get my purpose out there, or be, and I want you to take from this that it's never too late. And if you've got something burning inside of you that you want to share, that you want to release, that you want to speak, don't hold that in. Allow it to come out, because I think listening to what Michael has said today, I hope that will really inspire you to go, yes, it's not, wherever you are in your life, I want you to hear that it is not too late. And also to connect with your loved ones, connect with your parents, connect with your children, and have those stories, have those conversations, get your stories out there, because I think that's going to be the catalyst for lots of healing that needs to happen. So this hasn't been quite a meditation today. This has been more of a loving, dear message that we want you to hear from listening to this show today. And I'm just surrounding you in a lot of peaceful, loving light. And I want you to feel that. I want you to allow that to flow through you. I want you to remember that you matter, that you have a message, that you have something to share. And I promise you, it is not too late. And I hope you take comfort from that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And I feel inspired to share a little song, a little jingle that I wrote, that I channeled a couple of Sundays ago. And it's so in keeping with what you've just shared. So Spirit's asking me to share it. I was just going to give you a little sound blessing, but I feel I need to share this song instead. So may I share it?
Please do.
All right, here's how it goes. Okay, all my little jingles are very cheesy and very funny. So here we go. All right, a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. It's never too late, and you're never too old to be happy, healthy, and wealthy and bold. You've got to be a miracle magnet. Be a miracle magnet. Do that thing that you were brought here to do, and be a miracle magnet true. Yeah.
I love that. One way to end the show. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. And I will give a little blessing just because, but thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in today. Please share this with anybody that you feel needs to hear this message today. It's never too late. Let Michael inspire you to go to your next level, to heal, to gather the stories of the people in your lives that need to be gathered, and to have more peace and more healing in your family. And that will ripple out into the world as well. So thank you. Thank you all. And we'll see you on the next episode of Your Voice is Magic. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much to you both.